Hello students, good morning and welcome to this new class. And today we shall begin a new lesson, geography lesson number 4, agriculture. That is what we are going to see, a familiar term for all of us. Lesson number 4, agriculture. We know how important agriculture is because all of us need food and the food is produced from the agricultural fields. If the farmers are not there to cultivate, then all of us will have to go starving. We all will have to go to jungle to collect the fruits and so on. So agriculture means anything that is taking place on the ground, any cultivation, whether it is cultivated by us or it is by natural vegetation, whatever it is, whatever is coming from, produced from the land is called agriculture. So take your textbook, page number 14, lesson number 4. It is agriculture. So we know if you want to, two students, let us say 2-3 students are just discussing about, let's say what are they discussing. So Gurpreet, Matho and Tina, so these 3 children, they are walking through the village where they saw a farmer tilling the land. So as these 3 children were walking, they saw one farmer tilling the ground, digging the ground. The farmer told them that he was growing wheat and had just added manure to the soil to make it more fertile. So children might have asked the farmer, what are you doing? And he told them, I am preparing the land for cultivating wheat, and I also put some fertilizer in order to make the soil more fertile so that there can be more harvest, more crops grown, more grains. And he told the children that the wheat would fetch a good price in the mandi, from where it would be taken to factories to make bread and biscuits from flour. So the farmer explained to the children further that when this harvest is over, he will sell this wheat into the market, and then from the market it will be purchased by other factories, industries who are making biscuits, bread and so on. So the farmer who is cultivating this wheat, that will be sold to the market and farmer will get money, and from the market it will be taken to factories, they will powder it and make the wheat flour, and which will be used for making biscuits and so on. So finally it will come to us and we will be eating that biscuits in different form. Finally it started, in the beginning it started from the wheat, and it went through different process, and finally it comes to back as in the form of biscuits, so we will eat it. So the transformation from a plant to a finished product involves 3 types of economic activities. So we saw a farmer is cultivating the wheat, and then he is selling it in the market, and from the market they are taking to the factory and producing biscuits, and then factory is going and selling it again in the market, and from the market we will buy the biscuit. So if we consider all these activities, we can say there are 3 types of activities are taking place. So they are the primary activity, the secondary activity and the tertiary activity. These are the 3 types of activities that are taking place on this world. So let us see them one by one. What is a primary activity, what is a secondary activity, and what is a tertiary activity. Let us see what is primary activity first. So primary activities. So primary activities include all those connected with extraction and production of natural resources. So all the works that are connected with extraction from the earth and production of natural resources. So if you are taking out from the earth coal, digging out or quarrying, all these are the work done on this earth on the natural resources. Therefore all these works will be considered as primary activity. For example, let us say agriculture, the work is done on the land, or fishing, you go to the sea or river and do the fishing. That is also part of primary activity because the work is done on the land. And gathering of firewood, fruits, harvesting, all these things are called gathering. That is also done on the land, therefore they are primary activity. So in short we can say primary activities are work done on the land. All the works that are done on the land. Cultivation, digging, mining, fishing, all these are work done in the land. So even growing animals, all that is primary activities. Now let's see what is secondary activities. So secondary activity is that are connected with the processing of these resources. So we said primary activities are done on the earth and we take out from the earth. Maybe the food grains, maybe the minerals, or maybe the water. So whatever is collected from the earth, from the farm, that is used for processing into something else. That is called secondary activity. That is changing or converting primary activity, primary products into something else. For example, we saw in the case of wheat, the farmer produced the wheat and he sold it to the market, and from there it is taken to the factory. In factory, what do? They convert that wheat into different forms and finally it comes out as biscuits. So that is a secondary activity. Using the primary product, they make something else. So it was the wheat, then they powdered it, they added sugar, they added maybe egg and other things. So then they convert it into something else. That is called secondary activity. So producing something new using the primary products, that is called secondary activity. For example, let's say manufacturing steel. So if you go to the iron and steel factory, they'll be making big pieces of iron for making house, for making vehicles. We use iron for different purposes. So all that iron is mined out from the earth. Mining out the iron ore is primary activity. After using that iron ore, they convert it into iron pieces, big iron pieces. That is called secondary activity. So manufacturing of steel, baking of bread, making bread, then weaving of cloth. So cloth, how does it become secondary activity? Because the cotton is coming from the earth. So no, we plant the cotton and from there we pluck the cotton flower and make it cotton, we make it thread, and with that thread we make the dress or cloth, weaving the cloth. So that way it becomes a secondary activity. And the third one is called tertiary activity. Easy to remember. Third is tertiary. Tertiary activity. So tertiary activities provide support to the primary and secondary sectors through services. So in this third sector, tertiary sector, what are we doing? What kind of activity are we doing? We are doing the activities of service. So we saw in the case of that story, the farmer is explaining he will go and sell his wheat in the market. So market, there is somebody to buy from him the wheat. Then they will take it to the factory. So some people are there to do the service, to do the help. So the person who is buying and the person, the driver who is carrying it to the factory, all that is service. They are not producing anything. They are carrying wheat from the market and reaching it to the factory. That is a service. So that kind of activities, the service, helping others, the primary sectors, the secondary sectors, helping them, that is called tertiary sector. So let's see some examples. So transport, carrying people from one place to another, or carrying things from one place to another, that is a service, transport service. Then trade, buying and selling of things. Then banking, if you go to the bank again, you will see so many counters are there, and every counter one person will be sitting, each person will be sitting, and they will ask what you want. Maybe you want to take out money, or maybe you want to deposit money, so they are there to help you. So that is a service. Then insurance, there are a lot of insurances are there. We do vehicle insurance, house insurance, farm insurance, accident insurance, so many kinds of insurances are there. So they are all helping us, they are doing service to us. Or advertising, you can see these days in the newspapers, in the TV, most of the time is covered by advertisements. A lot of advertisements are there. So they are doing a service. They are not producing anything, but they are showing it to the people. They are giving service to the people, giving information about some products and so on. So once again, let us say primary activities are activities done on the land, cultivation, mining, growing, fishing, and growing the animals. All that will come under primary sector. Then manufacture sector, secondary sector is manufacturing. They manufacture something, they produce something by using the products of this primary sector. They produce something. The factory, industry, what they are doing is producing. They may be producing food items, they may be producing steel items, or maybe bricks and so on. So whatever they produce using these primary things, then that is called secondary sector. So in the primary sector, they are cultivation, mainly cultivation, mining, growing of animals, fishing and so on. But in the secondary sector, mainly it is producing things, industry. They are producing or manufacturing things. And in the third sector, tertiary sector, what they do is they do service. They provide service. That is what they do mainly. So remember the three sectors: the primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. These are the three sectors that are in the land, in the earth, or in the world, we can say. Now let us see them again one by one in detail. So agriculture is a primary activity. So agriculture is a primary activity, and the name of our chapter also is agriculture. So we are going to study about the first or the main activity that is taking place in the primary sector. So agriculture is a primary activity, and it includes growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and rearing of livestock. So all these activities are considered as primary activity. What are they? Agriculture. So agriculture alone, we can say growing of crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers, rearing of animals, all that will be considered as agriculture. And in the world, 50% of the persons are engaged in agriculture activity. So by considering all these kind of activities, those who are growing animals, those who are growing crops, those who are fishing, and those who are collecting growing fruits, altogether if you see in the world, 50% of the people in the world are involved in agriculture. Then 2/3 of India's population is still dependent on agriculture. 2/3 of the this is in the world, but in India 2/3 of the people, that means almost 60% of the people in India, they are depending on agriculture. So that's how we are able to have food. So how many people are working in the agriculture field, agriculture area, in order to provide food for all the people in our country. And what is that supporting the agriculture? That's what we are going to see now. So the favorable topography means the shape of the land. You know which land is good for cultivation. Some areas very steep, that is not good for cultivation. Some areas very valley, water is always there, that area also may not be very good for cultivation. So plain area, fertile land, availability of water, all these things are required in order to do cultivation. So favorable topography and climate are vital for agricultural activity. So if you want to do agricultural activity, two things that are important. One is topography of the soil, the shape of the soil, the surface, the top part of the soil. Then the climate. If the climate is too hot, then things may not grow there. If the climate is too cold, then again things may not grow there. So a moderate climate, not too hot and not too cold, such kind of climates will be appropriate for cultivation, for agriculture. So we can underline favorable topography of the soil and climate are vital for agricultural activity. So the land on which the crops are grown is known as arable land. We can underline that also. Sometimes they'll ask for exam, what is an arable land? So an arable land is the land on which the crops are grown. That means the land that is used for cultivation is known as arable land. The land which is used for cultivation of crops is known as arable land. And in the map you can see that agricultural activity is concentrated in those regions of the world where suitable factors for the growing of crops exist. So in the map in the world we can see, so some areas are given green color. These are the areas where agriculture is practiced. So why these places they have chosen for agriculture? It is because the factors are favorable. The topography of the soil and the climate of the place is suitable. That is why they are choosing this place. The people living in that place, they are practicing agriculture because they found soil is good, the climate also is good. Then let us see the word agriculture. How did it originate? How did this word come about? We can see here, and there is a small box is here. In that box it is given. So the word agriculture is derived from Latin word ager or agri, meaning soil. So the agriculture is coming from a Latin word. It is either ager or agri. So both are Latin words and the meaning is soil. Ager or agri means soil. And another word culture, meaning cultivation. So in Latin culture means cultivation. So soil cultivation, that's meaning, the word meaning, exact meaning of the word agriculture is soil cultivation. So it is coming from a Latin word. So remember that, don't forget, it is coming from a Latin word, two words. One is ager, which means soil. Another one is culture, which means cultivation. So that means cultivating in the soil. That is what the exact meaning of the word agriculture. Now there are different types of cultures are there. Let us see. So it is given, a chart is given there. We can see them what it is. So agriculture, the science and the art of cultivation on the soil, raising crops and rearing livestock. It is also called farming. So what is the definition of agriculture? Science and art of cultivation on the soil, raising crops and rearing livestock. So cultivating crops and rearing of livestock, the animals. And another name for agriculture is farming. And the second type is called sericulture. What is sericulture? Commercial rearing of silkworms. It may supplement the income of the farmer. So sericulture is rearing of silkworms. You know, the silk cloth, lot of silk cloths are made, and the main source of silk is from the silkworms. So farmers are growing silkworms in large quantities for the main purpose of selling it, and that is called sericulture, growing of silkworms. Then another one is called pisciculture. So breeding of fish in specially constructed tanks and ponds. So in Ziro also we have a lot of fish ponds are there. People are growing fish there. They buy, people, others will come and buy and so on. So they have made special fish pond for growing fish for commercial purpose. That's called pisciculture. So we can remember the name. Pisciculture means growing of fish. Another one is called viticulture. Viticulture means cultivation of crops. Cultivation of crops is known as viticulture. Then another culture is horticulture. Growing of vegetables, flowers, fruits, or for commercial purpose is called horticulture. So in the horticulture, what are the things they do? They grow vegetables, or they grow flowers, and they grow fruits. So general all these can be called agriculture, but agriculture is divided or separated depending on what they produce, what they practice. So if they are cultivating or growing of silkworms, then it is called sericulture. If they are practicing growing of fish, it is called pisciculture. If they are cultivating grapes, then it is called viticulture. Or if they are growing vegetables, fruits and so on, flowers and so on, then it is called horticulture. So learn these terms and the definitions. What is the meaning of different types of culture or cultivation and so on. So remember, read this several times, otherwise you will forget about it. So read several times and make it by heart. All these are very important terms that we deal in our daily life. Therefore we should be aware about it. We must do level best to make it a part of our memory. So we shall wind up for today, and the next class we will study about farming more and more. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.